Welcome back, dear viewers, to this heart-pumping episode of LUMIX Presents Showdown. After an incredible journey through the wilds of Washington State, we have reached the final conclusion of this epic filmmaking adventure. Our contestants have faced numerous obstacles to capture the truly beautiful essence of this part of the world. It's a roller coaster of emotions as we witness creativity, talent, and determination collide in this gripping conclusion. I present to you the epic final episode of LUMIX Presents Showdown. Let's get to it. If you recall from our previous episode, our contestants were sent out to capture a low-light film and photo for a challenge. While it was an uphill battle,
I gotta use whatever light I got to film something right now.
many of our contestants were able to capture some fantastic entries. Let's hope they're ready for another incredible day of filming opportunities.
Did that pass? I know, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
I got like 4 or 5 hours sleep.
Yeah, I don't know why you stayed until 3 in the morning.
Well, good morning, creators.
Hey.
You all look well rested and lively this morning. So I think now is the best time to introduce you to our partners for our final challenge here at the Showdown Lodge. Just like the first day, you will be paired with a talented teammate to complete this challenge. But this time, it won't be an athlete. Let me introduce you to our 4 talented chefs.
Hey guys.
For this event, we want you to produce a short cooking film shot entirely on the beautiful beaches of Lake Clayalum. You and your chef partners will design a menu, plan a creative vision, and cook a meal together, making sure you leave no trace once you are finished. You will have access to a variety of ingredients and tools here at the lodge, and we can't wait to see what films and meals you'll cook up. So let's head out.
Let's see what's on over here. Just see where we're going. Do you think that's too windy down there if we did it? Cause there's something about those 3 rocks.
Well, see, I have a lighter.
Well, that's not a good sign. Okay. I have a feeling if we can get around this curve, there will be something nice.
So for our last challenge, we are at Lake Clayalum, and I'm actually pumped about this one because we have to create like a little short cinematic sequence using a chef. So I love food. I watch a lot of cooking shows. So this is something that kind of right up my alley. Pretty pumped about this one, and we're outdoors. And yeah, so can't wait to see what we can do with this sequence here.
Yeah, I think if we just face it this way, we're good to go. I'm liking this area here. Is this like a good little table? Yeah. Let's do that. I was considering doing like a crazy cooking edit where it's like really flashy and stuff, but I think I'll just do more of like a documentary style, telling Emma's story and just kind of showing the nature and keeping it pretty calm. The sun's popping through really nice up here in the trees. I actually really love that.
Right. I think maybe even right there, and then it's just like a shot of you coming, or maybe I'll get a couple shots of you in this forest right here, looking around for it. Cool. So what we're gonna do is kind of set up this one scene since Angela what would you say, you're free?
I teach people how to do mushroom foraging, and so
yeah.
We're gonna find some matsutake in the woods today.
Cool. Oh, right here is actually perfect. Yeah, we'll do it here.
Perfect.
So I think what we're doing right now is we're having Angela find the mushrooms that she uses for her salads in this dish. So we found this really cool location with all these trees, so it's a little bit more away from the beach, but it has this really nice backlit vibe and setting that kind of just makes it feel just really aesthetically pleasing. All right, and action. I'm gonna brush it off maybe.
Look at that.
Cool.
Fresh matsutake.
And I'm gonna get used to some tight on you brushing it off, on just focusing on that.
Because I like the idea of the blue being in the background. Yeah, honestly, this is not bad at all. There's no wind around here.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll style it all out of what you're gonna shoot, and then we'll do sort of the action sequence as you're cooking. I'll just sort of film you in slow motion and stuff, and I'll do a bunch of like speed ramping.
For this challenge here, we have a lot of cool ingredients, a lot of color, which is great because I think it's gonna have that nice contrast with all the greenery here. And then I got to pick third because for the challenge, the spinning one, I got third place. And I picked Maria, which I'm really happy. I think we're gonna be a kick-ass team. Is there anything critical that we have to be concerned about in terms of like time? Because I know there's certain things like, oh, we gotta do it quick. I mean, so, okay, let's start with that first.
So I'm shooting right now in Vlog, and it's really great because it gets about 14 stops of dynamic range, which is super nice because I'm able to retain detail in the highlights. Yeah, like right now I'm shooting, the trees are kind of in the shade, but the sun is just popping through, but nice. Yeah, I'm on the kit lens right now because it goes to 20 millimeters instead of 24. And forests always look better, like the wider angle you can, because the trees just kind of make like a nice, they come to a point at the top. And the more zoomed in you get, the less trees you can get, so.
So do you grow up in Seattle?
I grew up in Bothell, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's where I lived when I first moved here.
No way, are you serious?
Yeah, I went to high school at Bothell High.
I went to Bothell High.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
What the heck?
Small world.
This is meant to happen.
I know, exactly.
All right, well, back to my lead shot.
Holy shit, that's a huge snake. I do not like snakes. It's a garter, we're good. Woo!
Where is it?
It's right over there. Personally, I have a small attention span, so I like to make this as easy as going, you know, as possible. There might be a few things where I'm like, oh, can you redo that real quick?
I'm good,
But this is cool, infused olive oil. We are going to take all the ingredients that we will be cooking with, and I found there's like a cool piece of driftwood, and I'm just gonna get like nice shots of all of them, and then I'll cut that together and intersperse it with everything.
Okay.
And I'll have you grab it from the right and just pull it off frame. Perfect. What's this?
Taste this, man.
Oh man, just get a finger.
Yeah, I double finger.
Ooh, that's sick. Okay, I'm really excited. This is gonna be good. Yeah, I looked at that was the big reason I picked yours. I was like, I love trout, and I think it's gonna look so nice. Especially if I can get a little peek of the lake in the background, it'll feel in situation and whatnot.
So for this cinematic reel, what I really want to do is highlight Chef Maria and her talent. So I kind of want to do something for her. So this is not really so much about the food, it's more about her talent and what she's able to create.
The way I film things, I want it to feel like natural and there's like a connection between you and the food. So that's what I'm going to aim for.
Love it.
And I think I could do that better at 24 than I can at 60. So.
Okay. I'm gonna fillet this.
Cool.
Great shots there.
Great.
And then we'll fire up the stove. We'll get the oil real hot. Lay it into it. I'm gonna score the skin, which will look great on camera as well. I'm gonna pull the pin bones out as well. And we'll get that nice sizzle whenever we go into the pan, which will sound.
Awesome. I am ready when you are.
Have you walk this way? Yeah, because you can't tell where she's coming from if I'm looking at kind of up at the trees. I think we could have the microphone just because she's gonna be doing a lot of like little intricate movements with her hands, and I want to just capture the audio of that because it's a lot easier to get on-set audio than like try and recreate it later with Foley. 1, 2, 3, go. Nice, perfect. Okay, probably just start with just the cutting board.
Okay.
Let's do the cutting board and the pan on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like as if you're just getting kind of all your gear out.
So we're gonna find the location right now. We had a couple good areas. Playing some mind games also with Dylan over there, telling him that we have to wrap early, but I did tell him I was just kidding, so I didn't cheat. They're probably freaking out.
A little bit.
So we have to be wrapped up by 12 now, okay?
Wait, what?
No, I'm just screwing with you.
Oh my gosh.
All right, bye.
This guy's a bozo. Wait, don't get on camera.
We're gonna be filming right next / behind Dylan today. By behind, I mean, sorry, in front of Dylan today. because I'm creating a little bit of chaos in this challenge today. Too many unfair advantages for him. Whew, I'm getting so tired. Cool. I just wanted to find you, Dylan. I want to hang out all day. Yes. I'm so happy. I'm creating chaos.
So annoyed. Okay. All right.
Love Dylan. Dylan, I love you. But I'm creating chaos. If I can mess him up, that's the goal.
It's a very close-up shot of these blackberries, and I don't want any movement in the camera to distract at all. So I'm just getting on a tripod to make it super stable, and go for it. That was way better. Okay, sweet, got it. I was at f2.8, so only like little holes where the fire came out was in focus, and turned out pretty good. I'm gonna get a bunch of close-ups and get the cutting and everything, and then intercut it with some wides. So.
Get my shovel. It's in the car.
I'm gonna have you probably hold it right here,
Okay.
and then you can pour it in. Get some of that shots.
Cool.
See, this is what I was afraid of.
What's that?
So see how the sun keeps getting shifted?
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. I use a sun tracker app, and I'm tracking that the sun's about to peak right through this little gap right here, which will make this entire area sunny again at 12:30. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna film a little bit of an interview of her about her passion about cooking right now, and then we'll come back right when it's like 12:30, and hopefully be able to get some stuff there.
Bring it, can you bring it a little lower? Like right there, yeah. Beautiful, nice. Try to pick it up more and exaggerate the opening. Love the light right now too.
We really lucked out with this spot because we've got like harsh sunlight here, which is perfect where when I get really in depth and uptight on these like macros, and then we've got that like dappled leaves here. Taking time to get this set up is gonna like, I'm already really liking these colors and light. And then once we get that, like, I think what's gonna set us apart is like you were saying, you've got a big flame.
Right.
So that's gonna look super cool.
Yeah.
And because we found such a cool location, this is perfect.
Yeah, the camera is actually super nice. I love shooting 6K because I put it in my computer and it looks just absolutely gorgeous. Like the resolution is crazy. I put it in there in my 4K timeline, and I can just zoom out to like 60%, and it's like totally fine. So I have lots of room, like lots of wiggle room to crop in if I need to or reframe stuff. So very, very impressed so far with the camera. Oh no, I think I'm sitting in like sap right now.
Yeah, probably.
I'm trying to stay away from like gimbal stuff today just because it's more like a documentary feel, and the gimbal feels too like set up and too perfect for it, so. Now that is how you pick up a rock.
Oh, good.
I think my hope is that we can get all the shots in the hour of you doing it all. I think we'll do the lettuce. We'll just start getting everything. Because once that sun peaks, because you could see how it's slowly moving right here.
Do you want me to start taking stuff out?
Yeah, let's get everything prepped so it's like really quick.
And action. Really happy, just wish I had some sort of diffusion, but I mean, it is a challenge, so we have to work with what we get. But other than that, if I had some diffusion, I think I'd be like over the moon. But no, I think it's coming out good. I'm happy with some of the shots I'm getting.
Sound design is super important for these kinds of videos. Some videos I have just music over it, but like for videos like this where it's like more documentary style, sound design is super important. So like the peppercorn grinding sound was very important to get, and anything I don't get here on the day, I can just add with sound effects later.
So let's focus on the sizzle, because like you said, I don't think anyone else is gonna get something like that. I mean, that thing looks intense. Yeah, we're gonna go slow-mo on this bad boy. Give me 1 second here. Oh, wow. I like it that you're kind of freestyling on the meal, you know?
Yeah. Baste the steak too, which will look Awesome.
What does that mean?
I'm just gonna take the oil and
Oh, you can't tell I do not cook that much for myself. Yeah. Well, I lived in a very, very small apartment in New York. Now I have a good space. I'm gonna start cooking again, and maybe I'll make some cooking content. Nah, I'm not gonna promise that at all. That's not gonna happen.
The roots off.
Right.
And then I was gonna do a small.
What's this
planing.
bowl for?
This will be used for. What was I gonna do that for? Oh, I think I was gonna put the strawberries in here.
So
if
that's
you
what I was
wanted to.
thinking. We're just
Thought it
running
was a prop.
behind on time, I
Oh,
think.
sure.
Let's start with chopping the salad. Because the sun's about to hit our table, and then it'll just be go time after that. So what I'm gonna have you do is like, you grab it, boom, whoosh, 3, 2, 1, chop. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was sick.
dope. Yes.
Cool. Let me check the sun. We can start moving everything back to this table since the sun's about to hit this table. But plus, once we get strawberries on, all that,
Yep.
it's mostly just for this one shot, and maybe I make it more of a wide shot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't even tell on camera.
Great.
So,
Okay.
some things that we did is we ended up hitting this paper bag all underneath to elevate the salad to just make it kind of look a little more full. This is like just, I feel like, a pretty well-known video filmmaking photo trick to do is to make things look full, pitting things underneath it. We're just having to make sure that we cover any brown stuff that is hidden.
I want to feel very documentary-like, and so I'm keeping it locked off just so it doesn't seem superposed or planned out. Just kind of let things happen spontaneously. But for some shots, I am adding a bit of motion, just because I think it makes the shot a little bit more interesting. And yeah, some shots don't need to be totally locked off. Let's get a 70 close-up. Yes, I'm just following instinct right now. Sometimes when you gotta work quick, you just gotta do what you know how to do.
And try and do another shot of me making this one.
Yes, I think it'd be good to get two. Are you gonna season that one right now?
Yeah.
So there were a lot of shots where I got one angle of something happening, but I wish I could have gotten two. And so with this one, I'm gonna get like the other angles I didn't get before. So I got a lot of close-ups on the last one, and this one I'm gonna do more like wides to show, like more like checking the salmon, like flipping it over. So I'm loving this angle from down here. Actually, I can show the monitor real quick. So down here at like 24 millimeters, I'm getting like the trees are behind her going up. So much of it is just like instinctual. Like I think being a landscape photographer in the past, I've shot so many forests, and then putting a subject in it just kind of complements it. So yeah, I'm just loving this angle right now. This is great.
Get ready and action. Woo! Nice. I want the dish to be right here so there's light on it. So if you could, we could try to, yeah, so it's almost like, yeah, exactly. You know, in a studio, there's perfect lighting. You have like everything pretty much set up, and no matter where you film, you're gonna get some really good shots. Here, you gotta get really creative, trying to find trees, trying to find areas where the shot's gonna look good. But overall, I think for the concept and the style of video that we're going for, I'm pretty confident that it's gonna turn out really well. It's a lot of fun making a cooking video, especially out here. It's just different.
Plan right now is we're gonna try to get to the open area, just to get a hero shot, like steady still, and then we're gonna get a still shot, and then I'm just gonna Photoshop more lettuce in to make it look a little bit more vibrant in post.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a 1-800 fix it in post number today, but we're gonna do it.
Want me to just put it in?
Yeah,
here
just
or
probably
on the
right
side?
there. Probably, yeah, right. So there was a couple challenges with Angela picking a salad for choice. It definitely had a lot of cool colors, especially in the wilderness. But with that said, it was starting to dry out and slowly shrinking and shrinking as time went on. A couple of things and tricks that I did use was I was putting a bunch of paper towels underneath the salad to try to elevate it all. So we went with a more wide establishing shot, not focusing so much on the meal itself, but more focusing about the process of making food in the wild. All right, so I think that is a wrap.
Woo! When I heard the challenge, I was a little bit like nervous because most of my stuff I shoot is like landscape, like action sport kind of stuff, very high-paced stuff. like short film things. And I've seen so many like cooking TikToks where it's like really fancy, you know, and the crazy edits of like cutting tomatoes and whatnot. And I really did not want to do something like that. And so, but then coming here and Emma showing me around and like showing me her process, I was able to kind of see like the story behind it and how she had so much like family background that led her to cooking. And so I thought it'd be better to, instead of just showing like a cool cooking edit, like tell her story. Would you like? Nice, of course.
Cheers.
Come on. Cheers. That's amazing. It's the best time I ever had.
Those berries look like the ones my mom told me not to eat as a kid because they'd kill me. Yeah. Are they? Okay, and rolling. You know what? Out of all the days to have like actually had a good pick, I'm so glad it was today. This looks so good. That's awesome. I can't believe it. It's incredible you cooked this out here, you know? Yeah. So sick. So it was really cool to see someone in sort of their element, in an element that's very far from what I normally do. You know, a lot of comparisons to be made between like filmmaking and cooking, so I talked a lot about that with my my chef partner. He just had a great energy and really went above and beyond to make sure that I got the best shot of his food.
Now let's head back to the Showdown Lodge to celebrate our final challenge.
No, so I did it by like a bit.
Well, hey guys.
Hey, howdy.
I want to thank you all so much for joining us for the first ever LUMIX Presents Shutter Showdown. We had so much fun with all of you, and I can't wait to see how your short films are going to turn out. To celebrate this evening, we'll be having a farewell bonfire for all of you, and I will see you there. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was really cool to create these new friendships with Dylan, Fritz, and Armando, and being able to kind of just see all the challenges, struggles that we've been going through.
Yeah, just the whole entire experience has been incredible, and I was really happy that I was chosen as one of the contestants to be a part of this.
Getting to be a part of the LUMIX Shutter Showdown was a great experience. We were able to kind of just share knowledge back and forth, and it's a competition, but we were all kind of helping each other out. And then Fritz just wearing his same shirt every single day was just very entertaining.
It was a cool creative exercise, you know? Being given these challenges with not much time to prepare, it really let us flex our creative muscles.
And I like the idea that we were all brought here and we're basically gonna leave being really good friends.
Super grateful that I got sent out to collaborate and compete against all these super talented creators who not only were fun to work with, but now it's cool to have unique new friendships being built from this competition.
Been a really cool exercise to get some really cool footage in one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
And it'll be cool to see what we all make and the differences in our creative approach. And yeah, I'm excited to see the results.
Now let's see what our judges think of our contestants' final entries in this competition. Judges, how's everybody doing?
I'm feeling good.
Feeling good? So here we are. This is the final day of challenges. Make sure to take your time putting together your complete thoughts on the projects, and we can't wait to see who comes out on top. All right, let's get started with Fritz's film. I feel like I'm gonna be hungry after eating all of these videos. I think the hunger is coming from me.
Eating these videos.
Sean, we're gonna start with you.
I definitely get very hungry watching this. Like you said, it's hard not to. I think overall exposure looks really nice. I like the intro of it. I think it's a really nice kind of play to start everything. That abrupt cut at the end, it's definitely jarring a little bit. but definitely seems to be Fritz's style.
Yeah, he loves doing those jarring styles like that. Going over to you, John. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, my first interpretation of it is that it's got some really beautiful shots. It really showcases the food well, which I know was the point of this competition. I thought there's some interesting choices in terms of shooting under dappled light. That's always going to be really difficult. And what really didn't hit the mark for me was I don't really know what's going on. Aside from the fact that a chef is literally cooking food, I don't have any answers to why he's cooking it, where it's from, even where they are. The final payoff shot is not indicative of the style of the rest of the piece. It feels like a bit of a letdown, and it almost looks like barbecue style at the end when this was all filmed very like high food art. Because there's some beautiful shots in there, don't get me wrong, but the way in which it was executed was a lot of the same shot, you know, shooting from the chest down, a lot of like push-ins, and I think it did struggle with that phenomenon of just because you can shoot wide open doesn't mean you have to. There's a lot of like finding focus and not really being super present with why they're shooting shallow depth of field. But in terms of making the food look great, nailed it. I just wish there was a bit more, no pun intended, meat on that bone.
That was a great pun to leave. It is time for you guys to get your markers out, put your scores down for Fritz's film, and really excited to see what you guys are gonna think about this one. We will go over to you, Sean.
All right, so I gave him a 7. I like the color grading, the food looks appetizing. I don't see anything that's like crazy out there. I think there are some frame rate and shutter speed choices that are either were pieces that were intended to be slowed down when they were shot, but ultimately weren't slowed down. So it's giving that kind of staccato feel, and you're getting that kind of heightened anticipation for something more to happen that doesn't really ever come to fruition. It definitely has a good vibe.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, come on, it's food.
It's food. The vibes will definitely be high for the food. We'll go over to John, and he will give us his score.
I give this one a 6. He did technically do what was asked of him, which is shoot a food film. But did he go above and beyond to add in originality and creativity? I think the answer is no. If there was a bit more of a payoff to some of the chaos, that would have helped it land for me a little bit more. Also, shooting food is very, very hard. Many times you only get one opportunity to capture something, and if you don't nail it, you have to move on and build it in the edit. So I'm sure that came up time and time again, not to mention being a one-man band, losing light, dealing with talent that you've never met before. These are all super difficult things. And so I'm gonna give him the 6 because I know how hard it is, and hats off to that man.
To Christina.
I gave him a 4.
Oh, a tough one there.
I think it's pretty. The shots are pretty of the food. The food looks nice. It looks fresh, but it doesn't leave me with any feeling. It doesn't feel like a food film. It's beautiful shots of food, but it doesn't feel like an actual arc of a story that we get to really understand the food or the chef or even the documentarian. Shooting food is really hard, especially in natural light, so I give him all the props for that, but I think I just wanted more.
Yeah. And now it's time to take a look at Matt's film and see what he can make out of this food.
Cooking in the wilderness gives you the opportunity to disconnect and venture out to the great outdoors. From finding mushrooms, fishing for salmon, and cooking it right at the source. Go out and adventure. Feed your wild side.
Feeding your wild side. That is the theme of that video. I want to go to John first. I want to hear what you have to say.
I thought it was an interesting commercial, if that's the vibe that they went with. I could see this being a 30-second spot for a tourism board of some sort. In terms of the story, once again, it just was lacking for me. Why is it in the woods, right? I get that the ask is that, but in the story, why is this all happening? Definitely some nice shots in the woods. It's a very challenging environment anytime to shoot the high contrast of the shadows of the tree with the sky. But from a technical standpoint, man, that warp stabilizer shot, why even keep that?
Christina, over to you.
The vibes were so high with this one. I felt, happy watching it. It was warm, it was comforting, it was really sweet. So I really loved the energy that he brought to it. I love that he really tried to go for some sort of narrative here. However, I just don't think it fully made it. The full arc just wasn't there. The beginning was great, and then the food shots just didn't show off the food in a glamorous way. It didn't make me want to eat the food, so I think the lighting could have been a bit better there, and a bit more close-ups of the food to really see the richness of it. We kind of lost it. We were a little bit too wide to really get to taste the food.
All right, now it is time to get your markers out once again and to put the scores down for Matt's film. John, back to you. What do we got?
I give this one a 5. The idea of food film just didn't really feel quite there. It was a lot of the equipment, a lot of the person, a lot of the scenario, but like, I actually couldn't even really tell you what it is that she made. I know it was mushroom-based, but there was no good reveal. And the fact that the final reveal was just like a wide shot of the bowl in shadow, I just wouldn't classify this as a food film, and that's why it lost points to me. I think it definitely succeeded in being a cool little like tourism, commercially cute video, but didn't hit the mark on what it was trying to do.
Christina, over to you.
I gave this film a 6 out of 10. I agree on the technical and quality aspects of the film. I can see that the highlights are clipped a lot. And, the warp stabilization, how he shot the food, he really could have done a bit more there to make us really understand what he's cooking, make us want to eat the food since this was the goal of this project. And the vibes, especially in the beginning, I really loved. It made me smile, it felt like a very warm atmosphere. So I really appreciated all that.
Sean, to you.
So I also gave him a 6.
Okay, 2 6s here.
The lack of actually seeing more of the food in the final part of the piece really kind of dropped it down at the end. There was a lot of this kind of bubbly, happy feel with it, and ultimately, I think it missed the mark for what the challenge was. The technical issues, they're very hard to overlook, unfortunately, especially when, again, looking at some of these shots, they could have been, kind of reshot, a couple of them. That warp stabilization shot, I'm just gonna, unfortunately, I gotta keep on it because that looks like it could have been reshot. I think it was definitely above average, not the best one we've seen so far, but definitely not bad.
Well, we still have 2 more to go on the cooking side of things. Let's see what Armando could cook up next.
Hey there, I'm Chef Maria, a U.S. Army veteran. After my military service, I decided to pursue my true passion for cooking. I attended culinary school as well as wine academy. I had an amazing opportunity to intern in France, learning from an incredibly talented Michelin star chef. Today, I'm excited to cook herb stuffed trout with lemon garlic mushroom and a spicy raspberry chutney. I wanted to highlight the local source ingredients available in Washington. The recipe is simple and can be easily recreated perfectly for anyone.
And that was a look at Armando's film. Christina, we're gonna go to you first. What are your initial thoughts?
I think my first thought was that this is the first film we've seen so far where they actually told us what they're cooking.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that at all yet.
That's true.
So it really gave me context to what they're cooking, why they're cooking it. They're also cooking it with food from Washington. And these are all really important details if I want to care about what she's making at all. On the technical side, it lost a few points for me, but I can see that they're really trying to go for more of the art that we were talking about, more of a story to really give context to who's cooking, why we should care about them. So I really like the creativity on that end and the originality on that end.
Sean, over to you.
So I really like this piece. From a technical perspective, I think it's very well done. It's filmed beautifully. I like the mix of, the top down actually showing the food, the movement, so it's not just a static shot of the food or it in a pan being moved around. Even though I don't like fish, it makes me want to taste the dish that was cooked in the end. And I think ultimately that's That's what makes it a good piece in the end. You know?
The food did look incredible, so every time I see one of these films, I'm just ready to eat. But one thing I am ready for is to see your scores. So go ahead and take those markers out. Let's see what you got. Christina, you go first.
So I gave him a 7.5. I could really feel the narrative here. I could really feel the why as to why she's cooking this food, what the food is, the context of the food, given all of the imagery of the landscape around her. And that's so important. I think it fell flat a little bit on the technical side, and maybe that's just experience with the camera and shooting in this lighting, and given the fact that they don't have a lot of time to film someone cooking.
Awesome. Sean.
So I gave him an 8. It's the right balance of, you know, talking about the chef and actually the food and showing the food, the preparation, the cooking, and then the plating ultimately. So I think as far as that goes, there's a well-rounded piece there. The reason it doesn't get any higher than an 8 though is for some of the subtle technical things. But overall, I think it executed very well on what the request was, and it added enough on top of just talking about the food to go above average for it.
Awesome. John, over to you.
So I initially gave this a 5.5, but changed it to a 6. That's why the number looks weird.
That is the most beautiful 6 that I've ever seen there. So
like that, yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, that is a 6, so now it's a 6.5.
Perfect.
And why I decided to upgrade it is because I think he executed highly on so many levels. To put all these things in a piece that's created in one day is no easy feat. I mean, even doing captions alone probably took him like a couple hours. So yeah, like, yes, I can knock it for not having the best font choice and some spelling mistakes and just it being overall a little bit hard to take in. But from a food film perspective, it did a great job. It told a good story, it showcased the food, it made me understand who's making it, why they're making it, where they're making it, and on top of that, it all looked beautiful. But I really respect the effort.
As you have your 5 that turned to a 6 there.
Yeah.
Not get over that. As we're gonna move on to our final film, it's gonna be Dylan. Let's see what he's got.
I always felt like everyone in my family is really creative, and I was always trying to figure out what art form I would fit into, but cooking was it for me. I got into cooking because when I was really young, my dad had a heart attack, and it really kind of freaked me out. I started to learn from a very young age that the nutrients in food are a huge vital factor in our lives. I think that cooking is a really intimate experience, and I worked in the restaurant industry very briefly before I decided to start my own company. You know, the reason I got into doing what I do is because in a restaurant there's such like a wall between you and the people eating your food, and I just love experiencing people and seeing their joy from eating the food that I create.
So that was our final film from Dylan. Probably a lot to unpack there. And Sean, I'm gonna go to you first. What are your thoughts on it?
It's beautiful. Yeah. The grade on it, the layout, the story, the kind of build, it definitely shows a lot of care into the whole production. I think there is still an excessive use of shallow depth of field just for using shallow depth of field. I think it's a creative choice that I'm not super blown away by, but that's a minor thing. You know, I mean, it's in style, so of course you're gonna wanna, you know, kind of go with stuff like that. as I've said a couple of times, I don't really like fish, but it makes me want to go try it.
Like, you about to turn into a fish person after this.
No.
You don't think so?
No, steak and potatoes, man.
Steak and potatoes. John, what are your thoughts on this one?
This is just extremely impressive. I mean, above everything, I think Dylan has an incredible grasp on story, which is something that is becoming increasingly hard for creators to want to care about, because everything is so intrinsically visual based, and it's like quick in, quick out, right? So we're not sharpening our knives that is storytelling. I think this beautifully depicts the concept of food film, because it had the narrative, it had the food, and it was a very balanced joining of the two concepts in one. All the creators made films with this short of a time span, and for Dylan to execute as highly as he did, 3 days in a row, and I think he like storyboarded his films as well. Like, all these things take a lot of time. So I'm very, very impressed.
Christina, over to you.
I can feel the emotions that he was really trying to convey here. I feel close to the character. I understand her intent, the reason why she wants to make food, her story. And it's really hard to do that, just like you were saying. And I could really see that Dylan has a knack for being able to tell a story, especially in such a short time. Overall, he did an excellent job, especially with all the constraints.
For the final time, it's time to get your scores on paper, and I want to see what you guys are thinking about Dylan's film. Let's bring it back to you, Sean.
So I give Dylan an 8.5. Aside from a couple of my kind of critiques about maybe the overuse of shallow depth of field, other than that, I mean, it's beautifully graded, and for me, an 8.5 is a pretty damn good, home run.
Yeah, you're a tough critic.
Maybe too tough sometimes.
Maybe too tough? Totally okay with that. Totally get that. John, over to you.
So I give this a 10.
Oh! We have the first 10, the perfect 10 there.
Dang.
I was thinking about what even makes a 10, and that the idea of perfection, especially in this sense, I don't think is attainable in the way that we're all sort of judging it. And as I've seen all these films in their, come to fruition, it's extremely impressive. Like, this would be like an 8 or 9 out of 10 if it was shot over a period of weeks, or if I saw it as a trailer on Netflix. But the fact that this was done in less than a day, from execution to shooting and conceptualization and everything, like, it is exactly what it tried to be, which is a food film. It also encapsulates just the journey that all the filmmakers went on, and it bumped it up in that regard, because this is the third day. They're probably exhausted. They're socializing. Who's to even say they're sleeping properly? There's so many things that made it incredibly impressive. So hats off to Dylan and having a style that really feels like his own. That's also extremely hard to do, especially if you're earlier in your career.
Christina, are you going to follow suit with another 10?
We made a really excellent argument. I gave him a 9 out of 10, which is still very high. It is very hard to get a 10, and I understand the circumstances. I want to applaud him for the achievements he made in narrative and storytelling. I felt incredibly close to his main character, which is so hard to do in any scenario, let alone cooking food. And the fact that he was able to get so close to her and allow her to feel vulnerable in these scenarios, and the audio quality is still sounding amazing, I think that's just incredible. On the technical and quality side, it's very clear that Dylan knows his way around a camera. The movement is beautiful. I love the shallow depth of field. There's a little bit of framing that I didn't love, but overall, he really nailed it.
Yeah, incredible. And as I said, this is our final film of the Shutter Showdown Challenge. But I want to ask you guys, starting with you, John, what were your overall impressions of all the films that you have seen?
Well, first of all, I want to just congratulate all the filmmakers, because they are incredibly talented, each in their own right. And I mean, to any young filmmakers and creators, if you want to get good quickly, you have to do something like this. You have to put yourself out there. Challenge yourself to create things that are not in your wheelhouse. Like, ask your family to challenge you. Write a bunch of ideas and put them in a box and take one out every day and try something new, because it's this ethos of trying things that scare you and that you suck at are what make you a good filmmaker.
Christina, going over to you for your thoughts.
I am so incredibly impressed by how everyone is able to shoot in this time frame, edit it, create some sort of story. And coming as a cinematographer, I'm not used to just jumping into a scenario like this and having to pre-pro on the spot, shoot in all natural lighting alone. And there's no focus puller for you, so you're relying on that autofocus, which this camera is doing an amazing job throughout. And don't forget the importance of pre-production to build your narrative and story. It's easy to jump to a project and just try to get all the spontaneity on the day, but being able to plan your narrative beforehand so you know what story you're telling, what emotions you want to convey is very, very important.
Amazing advice there. Sean, going over to you.
To know that these filmmakers were put in challenging situations that, may be a complete opposite of their day-to-day skill set, but still be able to produce pieces like this that someone can look up to, that someone that's watching this that may have never done any of this kind of filming can see that, look, it can be done. Is it gonna be challenging? Are you maybe not gonna be happiest with the results that you get out of it? That's just life. That's just what happens. That's how you hone your skills and you grow. And I think they're all incredibly talented. They've made some amazing pieces. I think Dylan knocked it out of the park across the board. It's just such an honor to actually be able to see this stuff and be able to share a voice about it. So yeah, it's so freaking awesome.
After our last round of judging, the scores are in, and it looks like we have a winner. Let's head over to Showdown News with the contestants.
Hello, contestants. It is so good to see everybody again. How is everybody doing?
Good.
Hey, well, thank you for taking the time to come meet with me today because we have a very important announcement for you. The judges took a look at all of your work. They loved everything you guys produce. But we are ready to announce the winner of the first ever Shutter Showdown is, I'll do a little drum roll. Dylan! Dylan, you are the winner of the first Shutter Showdown.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts? What are your reactions to that? How do you feel?
I was just so happy to be a part of this LUMIX Shutter Showdown, and it was definitely a new experience for me, being on camera and like having to perform and film stuff under so much pressure and time restraint. Like most of my shoots are like very planned out, and I have at least like a day or two to like know what I'm actually going to be doing. But like getting to just like improvise on the spot was just so much fun. And it was just so good to work with all the people that I worked with, the slackliner, my cameraman, and the chef at the end. Everyone was just like so cooperative and willing to just make whatever ideas I had come to life. And so it was really just a great collaborative environment, even though it was just like a I make a video kind of challenge. Like it was really just like a team effort. So I think that the whole experience was just great to get to meet all of you guys, get to meet the other contestants, and for us to all just kind of talk together and just kind of share that creativity that we all kind of share together. And so yeah, so just super grateful to have been a part of this. And honestly, in the end, I think we all won because we got to meet each other and become friends.
That's sweet. It's great. Well deserved, I gotta say. You're very talented, Dylan. Really good work. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone who tuned into this season of LUMIX Presents Shutter Showdown. We had so much fun up here in the mountains, and we can't wait to show you where we're heading for season 2. From everyone here at LUMIX, I'm Howie Collins, and this has been the Shutter Showdown.